went blah, 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 and I didn't die. I mean, the bike did die. Wait, I'm not even recording. All right, we're going to press the record button. And now we're recording. Yes, we are. We're going to give it a thumbs up. Okay, so here we go. That's my front tire. That skid mark right there. And that's my back tire. And that's why now I'm down here, because I had to make some adjustments. I took a bad line. You know, I don't know what I was thinking, but I came up this way and I thought, oh, I'll go up here. But no, that was a bad idea. I should have just split the boulders. But I'm always afraid. But I have skid plates, so it's not a great skid plate. It doesn't go up around the side, you know. It's just flat. It might as well just be a frame, but oh well. Okay. The puddle. Well, no, I lied. There's some more puddles on the other side of that mountain or that hill. Whew. Okay. So, what I'm going to do is I have a story for you that I've already recorded. But the video was terrible. It was just terrible. But the audio was pretty good. So, and it sounded great. So, I'll let you decide if it's any good or not. Oh, come on. Oh, thank you, butt man. I knew you could start. You are the man. Okay. Oh, alright, so what you're going to see and what you're going to hear are going to be different. But that's okay. This is more interesting. I mean, look at that. Look at it. There's just boulders up here. I mean, that's the size of a medicine ball. Not that anybody knows what a medicine ball is, so let's say that's the size of it's bigger than a basketball, about a beach ball. Most people are more familiar with that. Okay, here we go. I kind of talked about my best experience as a youth with two wheels. Well, talk about first. Ooh, where does that go? I gotta go see it. I'm sure it's somebody's property, but we're gonna go up there anyway. It has gravel. Anyway, back to the story. I talked about living on two wheels with pedals when I was a youth. And then I talked about moving to Tennessee, and then I talked about, let's see, when you moved to Tennessee, I couldn't really ride my bike anymore. That was another reason I was miserable in Tennessee. Because if I couldn't ride my bike, how could I be happy? So I ended up getting that scooter and was happy again. Let's see that shale. This is just a quarry of some kind. And then, okay, but my first experience with it, let's talk about a motorcycle. I'll take a cue from Ride Victoria. He talked about his first experience with a motorcycle. There's a guy looking at me down there, so I think we'll head out. I don't want to have the cops called on me. That would not be good. But anyway, my first experience with a motorcycle. No, Everride. Everride was the one who told me about this, or told the whole world on his Motovlog. Anyway, yeah, I act like he's a personal friend. Everride inspired me to talk about this. So I told you about Kyle already in another blog about how he was the master of wheelies on two wheels on his pedal bike. Well, Kyle also was the first of us to get a motorcycle. He got a YZ80 yellow machine. That thing was awesome. Of course, anything that wasn't pedal powered was awesome, but I'm pretty sure this one was really awesome. It was like, you know, YZ80. It was really tall. You had to really tiptoe on it. And Kyle would, he just didn't pause the other video. Audio. Pause that other area. Pause it.
You should be on that thing.
Pause that. Okay. I'm kind of stuck. Those are big logs, and they probably did this on purpose, because they don't like us under here on the motorcycles. But we're going to try it anyway. I'm going to try to get off this thing here. Okay, Brad, man, you just sit there and charge your batteries, boy. We're going to go up this way. Okay, resume the audio. Go ahead.
Like, you know, YZ80 was really tall. You had to really tiptoe on it. And Kyle would, he just didn't ride it that much. And I was just like, man, you are crazy. If you have a bike, you should be on that thing every day. So every time I go over to his house, we were good friends, just lived right across the street from each other. You know, I'd see him all the time. I'd be, let's ride your bike. Let's ride the motorcycle. No, I wanted to do it. And Kyle was, Kyle, if you ever start watching this, again, I apologize. This is how I remember things. But Kyle was the kid.
Oh, look at that. Boy, that's dense. Those of you who don't know what dense means, this is the word dense. Look at that. Just, oh, it's just dense. Not dumb, dense. Not the dumb version of dense, you know. Okay, back to singing.
He had stompers, right? And stompers were really cool. They were like these. They weren't remote control, but they were little cars. They had wheels on them. You could take the wheels off and stuff, and they were like 4x4, and they were battery operated, and they would just go anywhere. But they would just go straight. You know, you couldn't. They didn't turn or anything, but anyway, they would just go everywhere. And so, if Kyle had some stompers. Kyle, let's play with your stompers. No, we're gonna wear the batteries out. Well, Kyle, let's go ride your motorcycle. No, it's gonna run out of gasoline. You know, I mean, he was always that. No, I don't want to do anything with it. It'll look just good on the shelf. I don't want to do anything with it. And I was, it drives me crazy. So, anyway, whenever I could talk him into riding the motorcycle, we'd go out in his backyard. And at the time, I thought it was a pretty big backyard. But after visiting it as an adult, it was super tiny. But it was cool. It was still good, you know, because you could go around the backyard in his motorcycle. It was one of those cookie cutter house lots, you know, where everybody had the same house and everybody had the same size lot, and it was tiny. But anyway, we ended up riding the motorcycle, and he had the clutch thing, right? So we'd start at the back of his deck, and you'd get in there, and you'd let the clutch out, you know, and so you'd have to start it again, and then you'd let the clutch out, and then you'd let the clutch, you know, you get it started again. And anyway, we got to where, you know, he was pretty good at starting. I got to where I was okay at starting. And of course, you have that time where you just let it fly, and you know, the front wheel comes up, and you're digging dirt all over the place, and wow, that wasn't good either, but it was still fun. And as you're learning to ride, you know, that's what happens. But we couldn't get out of first gear. We just ended up going around in circles in his yard. And we ran, I guess we were around fairly amount enough, because we ended up wearing a track, wore the dirt out, but this was out west where you had to water your grass. And when you have to water your grass, you know, your parents hate for you to do anything to the grass, so we got in trouble. But we couldn't take the bike anywhere. We couldn't ride it on the roads to get to where, so we had to finally, I met somebody else, a good friend. His name was Matthew, or Matt. And Matt had like a field. He actually lived right next to the Monkey Dunes. And the Monkey Dunes is where we'd pedal our bikes down to. But he had a YZ80 also. It was older. It was probably like 70s model, but it was still a motorcycle. And I finally, you know, I talked him into it. Dude, I gotta ride your motorcycle. So, you know how to do it? Oh yeah, I've ridden Kyle's before. So I knew what I was doing. And I told you that the Monkey Dunes were like this place where there were jumps and berms and whoop-de-doos and different things like that. And on a pedal bike, it was great, but oh, you get so tired. So I'm finally like, yes, I'm on a motorcycle at the Monkey Dunes. I was so excited. So I'm going around, and I'm finally getting into second gear, and I get up to third gear, and I remember that power band of that little two-stroke, you know, it would kick in, it would be like, wah! But it was awesome. But I came up on a jump, and it was a jump that I had jumped many times on my bicycle.
Riding on the bossy mud, the mud bossy, the rocky mud bossy, rocky mud, and then mud. Oh, this is not good. Oh boy. Oh Nelly. Oh, this is bad. Oh, gotta get him up so he doesn't flood. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, this is probably the worst predicament I have ever gotten myself into. Oh boy. But I got my strap. And maybe I can ratchet out of here. Oh my goodness gracious. We're just gonna pause. If I were an orangutan, you know what I would do right now? I would try to lift this bike out. If I were an orangutan. Some of you know the orangutan that I'm talking about. Well, oh, praise the Lord, I am not hurt. Hopefully, the bright man isn't hurt either. But ladies and gentlemen, whew, oh, look at this. Okay, I'll break that stick off, get it out from under my fender. Oh, bright man, I don't blame you. It's not your fault, my friend. Oh. Wow. Okay, that's no way I'm gonna drive out of that boy. What happened? I tell you, what happened?
Okay, I want to give you a visual of what actually happened here because the crash looked pretty lame. And it was pretty lame, but I'm in a big pickle. So, here's the trail, and it's like a cross section of the trail. Actually, it's all muddy, so I need to make it brown. Okay, so here we are, and there's the Bratman. He's up on top, and that's where I'm riding. I'm trying to stay out of the ruts. See, all the ruts are down there on the bottom, and then there's trees on the right. And again, everything's muddy. So there's this stump down on the bottom, and that stump is right next to an anthill. So you see the anthill, well, that's where the bike is sitting here in a second. That is a 4-foot drop from where I started. And then the bike weighs 300 pounds, and Mr. AMAP only weighs 160. So, you see my predicament here. And some of you are asking, why didn't you just fire up the bike and go? Well, like I said, everything is muddy. It is so slick. There's all these trees that have lost all their leaves, and it's just totally decayed everything down there, and I can't hardly stand up. So there's no way I'm getting traction. What I need is a Christini. Have you ever seen the Christinis? They are two-wheel drive off-road vehicles that are actual motorcycles. Very cool. I'll see if I can find a picture. I'll put one up now. I've heard that the military is replacing their KLRs with these bikes. That little red thing right there in the middle, that is the two-wheel drive system. If the rear wheel slips, the front wheel kicks in. Man, I wish I had the money. Oh, this would be nice.
Okay. Coming along. Slide. Slide. That was the problem. If I was up there, it'd have been okay. But I slid. So my back tire was going to the left. Here's the back tire. Here's the front tire. Back tire went to the left. Front tire tried to compensate. And then up and over we go. And that's where my butt landed. Right there. I probably got a muddy butt now. Oh. Okay. Orangutan approach does not work. I have learned that from the past. If you just try to push and pull and muscle and get a hammer and try to fight your way through, all you do is get tired. Without success. So, we're going to think. We're going to take the Captain Slow approach. Captain Slow will sit and ponder the physics of the issue. The physics of the issue. Okay. While I sit and ponder and take my helmet off to cool my bald head, we'll send you back to the other video, which is pretty boring. But it's more exciting than me contemplating my predicament with the Brahman. So, video, just push it out of the way.
But I came up on a jump, and it was a jump that I had jumped many times on my bicycle. And you know, maybe I got up to like 13 or 15 miles an hour, maybe. You know, I didn't have gears, I just had one gear, but I don't know, maybe 13 miles an hour is as fast as I could get up and before I would hit this jump. And I would just sail, you know, you think you go so high, and it was just awesome. Well, on a motorcycle, it's a little different. On a YZ80, it's a little different. When I hit that thing, I don't know how fast I was going. It was a dirt bike, didn't have a speedometer. I don't even remember what gear I was in, but I was going pretty fast, and I hit it, and I was sitting down. As I've mentioned before, sitting down in jumps don't get along very well. If you listen to my blog about Todd breaking his collarbone on my sister's bicycle seat over a jump. So anyway, I'm sitting down. I hit that, whoa, and I jump way up in there, but my back end goes a lot higher than my front end. And so I start coming down, and it's like, ah! And I'm thinking, I'm gonna go over the front of this bike. I'm going to get hurt really bad, and my mom will never let me have a motorcycle. But luckily, that thing had some pretty good shocks on it, because when that front tire hit the ground, boom, you know, I mean, I lived. I didn't even crash, but holy cow, that was one of those where you kind of throttle down and you ride back to where Matt is, who's laughing hysterically with Kyle, laughing and rolling in the dirt. And you turn it off and you take off your helmet and you go, that was awesome! But you don't get back on it. You don't get back on it for quite some time. But yeah, that was a fun trip. Oh, that was a fun day. Riding the YZ. I never rode that bike again. Never rode the Monkey Dudes ever again. I think it's mainly because I moved. Because then I moved to Tennessee. I got my Honda Spree. But a Honda Spree, I talked a little bit about that before. When I moved to Vegas, I had my driver's license. And the Honda Spree just wasn't as cool as it used to be. But I lived in the desert, and there were trails everywhere. But I did not have a motorcycle. But I had a Honda Spree. So, what did I do? I bet you can tell what I did. No need to display this. I took that Honda Spree out in the desert and I rode the heck out of it. And I'm a lot bigger. I wasn't 14 anymore, you know, I'm like 16, 17. And that, you know, needless to say, those little Honda Sprees, they don't grow like you do. It was little, and boy, did I bottom those springs out, and I jumped the thing and, you know, wreck it, and I'm sure it didn't have blinkers on it anymore. And man, I just destroyed that thing, and that's one thing my dad hated, is if we trashed our stuff. But I trashed that little thing. Woo! I had fun doing it, but it was trashed. And then, actually I did have another motorcycle experience. This was on a three-wheeler. Three-wheelers are dangerous. There's a reason they don't make them anymore. And if they do, there's only one tire in the back and two up front. Well, we would go on a father and son's camp out when I lived out west, and we had one where we went down to the sand dunes, and my dad ended up renting a three-wheeler for us. Took that three-wheeler out, and there were different kinds, you know. There were kind of the big fat tire ones, And then there were the ones that had like racing ones, you know, where you had to shift and everything. And then there were the ones where you could shift it, but they didn't have the clutches. You know, so there's all these different kinds. But my dad ran one with the big fat tires, and it wasn't really fast or big. I don't even remember how size it was, but I mean, it was fun. It was awesome just to be out there, and I'm following my friends, and I had a 3/4 helmet again. We're driving along and going through these dunes, and not in the sand, but off on the trails, because you know the dunes it was hard riding the dunes when you're a kid in the sand. But anyway, I'm out there riding along, and ended up there was a tree branch, a low tree branch, and I'm riding along, and I'm in front, and I'm leading the pack, and I'm flying around this thing, and a low tree branch. Now, what did I do about that tree branch? You know, a normal person would duck, or a normal person would stop. No, not me. I kept on going, and I just saw it come straight from my forehead. And it was one of those where I saw it coming, and I didn't do anything about it, and just boom, right on the top of my head, bam! And it knocked me off of that thing. And again, we had rented this 3-wheeler, and I'm flat on my back in the middle of the trail. Luckily, I didn't get run over. My friends are all laughing at me again, and the 3-wheeler goes another 100 yards and slams into a tree. And then that's one of those things where you're like, do I tell my dad the truth, or do I make up something? And I'm sure I made up something.